Question number 32 says the table below shows the distance a car has traveled. So if you look at the table, it gives us the minutes that the car has been traveling, and then the distance the car has been traveling. Okay. Now, as we look at this, the question here is, what is the meaning of the slope of the linear model for the data? So if you remember, the way we talk about the meaning of the slope is obviously first we need to know what the slope is, and then we put it in the context of the problem. So to find the slope of a table, we need to first figure out what type of model it is, whether it's linear, exponential, quadratic, because obviously if we're talking about slope, it should just be linear. Okay, so what we're looking for here is a constant change. So if we look at this, it looks like the table is going up by 25 minutes each time. And remember, usually the tables are given with the x variable on top and the y variable on the bottom. Okay, so remember, slope is equal to the change in the y's over the change in the x. Very important that you remember this right here. Okay, key idea of slope linear functions is that the change in y over the change in x is equal to the slope. So the change in the x each time it's adding 25. Okay, so it's kind of reversed of how it's written over here. So the change of 25 is on the top of the table, but for the slope, that goes on the bottom. Okay, now every time that goes up 25, how much does the distance traveled go up? If you look right here, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, you may be able to tell already that that's going up by 20 each time. So we have 20 over 25. Now there are different ways we could do this. We could turn it into a decimal, which would be 0.8, but you don't see 0.8 written here anywhere. So the best way is to try and reduce this as a fraction. Alright, so we find the common factor 20 and 25 have in common, and you can divide both of these by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So the fraction 20 25ths reduces to 4/5, or 4 over 5. So again, this is the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so basically this is saying that every time x goes up 5, so every time the number of minutes increases by 5, the change in y, the distance traveled, should change by 4. So every 5 minutes we should be traveling 4 more miles. So if you try and match up that one, it's not A, it's not B, and it's not D right here. The answer is C. The car travels 4 miles. Alright, remember, change in y goes on top. That's the distance traveled. 4 miles every 5 minutes. Okay, so our answer is C. Just be careful, because notice the 4 and the 5 from our answer here show up in each one of these. This one is the only one, or this one also mentions the two numbers together. It just has it backwards. They're thinking of the 5 being on top and the 4 being on the bottom, which would be the case if you just went with 25 over 20, just looking at the numbers on the top of the table and the bottom. But remember, it's change in y over change in x. So you have to take these two numbers and really flip them, okay, when you're writing down what the slope is. All right, so the correct answer here is C.